John S. Young reports, back to the days when hay made horsepower.
On the job, time, 40 years ago. Take a look at the trucking industry as your grandfather remembers it. 2 horsepower and a get-up was the self-starter, and only the oats got a center poise ride. And here's another queer one. You put on the brakes with your vocal cords. Listen to this. Whoa, oh boy! No hurry. No thought about ton-mile calculation or ton-mile hours in those days. Just plenty of time and a good grunt or two. And Elias A. Brown's herrings were delivered on time. Now, 40 years later, Mr. Brown's granddaughter must have phoned for that new hat. Get out your stopwatch and time a modern delivery as it's done today in the modern way. A trim and neat panel delivery, plenty of horsepower, always in harness and ready to go. Drivers nowadays have forgotten how to say get up and whoa. The modern trucking industry has learned to step on it. And whether it's hats or hairpins, pig iron or potatoes, one article or a full load, there's the right size and type unit for every business and every job.
Ford Bond reports, elephants join unemployed as Big Top goes modern.
Here's one of the biggest jobs of all, the Big Top, the circus, bringing a thrill to the kids in every town. A red-letter day for all small boys from 6 to 60. The girls on the flying trapeze, clowns, cowboys, sideshows, ponies, and back of it all, the elephants. In the old days, you thought those elephants were a part of the entertainment. Old-timers in the circus business tell us otherwise. Those elephants helped get wagons out of the mud while the circus was on the move. Today, the elephants loaf on the job, and the modern circus rides on rubber. The famous Tom Mix Circus, the world's largest motorized circus, travels with Ford V8s. Here's one of 3 units in this mechanized equipment that provides power and light. No more flares and smoky lamps. Ford V8 engines turn the generators and turn on the juice for the main tent with seats for 5,000, and all the sideshows, dressing rooms, and living quarters for 275 performers. Listen to some of the vital statistics while this big cowboy caravan gets underway for the next town. All the heavy circus equipment and animals travel in Ford V8 trucks, 65 of them. In addition, 7 panel delivery trucks, 1 pickup, 2 station wagons, and 8 sedans, all of them Ford V8s, help move the crews and smaller equipment. The Tom Mix Circus has a 38-week season over a 17,500-mile route in all kinds of weather, over all kinds of roads, from coast to coast and border to border. For some of these Ford truck units, last year was the 3rd such season, but they're still on the job, bringing the circus in on time. Behind the color and tinsel, the show business is as realistic and practical as any other. Beside their ability to take it, Ford trucks have to prove they can dish it out. They have to operate economically. There's no time for pampering or for rest, but like every trooper in the outfit, the Ford V8 comes through with an A1 big-time performance. It's a record of speed and dependability worth translating into terms of your own trucking and hauling requirements. Here is every Ford type, from panel delivery through to 157-inch stake and van bodies, on the job night and day, performing speedily, economically, and dependably. Running a circus, say experienced circus men, is no circus, unless you're motorized with Ford V8 equipment.
Alois Habrilla reports, beefsteaks travel in royal style. Modern conveyor system serves all America.
On the job and on the hoof at Chicago stockyards. That extra special T-bone steak for hungry America is on its way. Here they come by the thousands, on the last journey they'll make under their own power. Listen to them.
This is just one of 30 armor plants in the United States where every year 15 million head of livestock are prepared for market. Here's where they say they use everything but the squeal. Just another way of saying they make both ends meet. Hundreds of armor branches serve the retail trade, and all of them, main plants and branches, rely on dependable, speedy delivery to fill America's dinner table. And so we're not surprised to find more than 1,300 Ford trucks on the job. But here is a surprise. The Ford V8s cost less to run than the four-cylinder jobs. Listen to F.L. Faulkner, manager of the automotive department for Armor, while he tells how Ford trucks help him make both ends meet.
It has been our experience that Ford V8 trucks, replacing previous model four-cylinder Fords, have performed more efficiently and with greater flexibility and at a reduced cost on the same type of work. With the advent of the 8-cylinder engine, coupled with the engine exchange plan, we have been able to do more work per unit and maintain a greater continuity of delivery schedule.
Out on the retail routes, Armor salesmen tell the story of Armor service. Sure, fast, dependable. Spick and span Ford trucks follow hard on the salesman's heels, and the dealer gives his customers the best there is, fresh and at low cost, because one of Armor's big problems of distribution and delivery has been solved at low cost, too.
John S. Young reports. Gong rings on Toonerville trolley. Clears way for progress.
July 1934. You're in the stockroom of the Detroit Street Railway. Parts and accessories, including one replacement axle for the brand new fleet of 35 Ford V8 buses just put into operation. Today, the Detroit Street Railway Ford V8 fleet has grown from 35 to 450, still including all the original units, with more being built for delivery this year. And meanwhile, let's go back to the stockroom. There's that one replacement axle, still waiting to go into service, a silent witness to the fact that Ford equipment is mighty easy on the upkeep costs, with the result that Ford buses set new records in transportation. Costs are lower, bus service is faster, more frequent, and best of all, more passengers are using the buses where Fords are in service. Mr. and Mrs. Detroit were quick to show their appreciation when Fords went on the job. One of these veterans with a record of distinguished service has traveled the equivalent of 5 3/4 times around the world, over 140,000 miles in service on Detroit streets. At 35,000 miles, the original V8 engine was exchanged for a factory reconditioned unit. A third engine went in 54,000 miles later, and the fourth is still going strong after 50,000 miles in service. Running time on routes served by Ford buses has been cut 22 to 26%, with schedules at an average speed of almost 17 miles an hour. The Ford units, say DSR officials, are able to accelerate to 15 miles an hour in 4 6/10 seconds, to 30 miles an hour in 19 1/2 seconds, and to 40 miles in slightly less than 13 2/10 seconds. 500 of the latest type Ford V8 buses have been ordered by Detroit Street Railways, and many of them already are in service. They carry 25 passengers in roomy, deep-cushioned seats with ample standing room for as many more. So no wonder Mr. and Mrs. Detroit hail the new Ford buses. Hail them with a rain of nickels and dimes through the fare box that gives operating ratio a magic twist in the right direction.
Ford Bond reports. Firefighters go to blazes with newest and best in motorized units.
Chesaning, Michigan. Population 1,600. Town of civic pride and a wide main street with its stores and shops. Take this quiet afternoon as an example. No hustle and bustle, no traffic jam, no heedless, needless rush, but up to date, up to the minute, and ready for any emergency that comes along. Uh-oh, what's that?
Yeah. There's a fire at Mrs. George Carson's at 103 West Broad. Oh, hurry, please.
Hello.
There's a fire at the George Carson residence at 103 West Broad Street. Will you tell Homer Ketchum?
103 West Broad. Okay.
Chesaning's telephone operator advises the volunteer firemen of the town.
Hey, Chief.
Yeah.
There's a fire at 103 West Broad Street.
Okay. Let's go, boys. Okay.
The George Carson residence, 103 West Broad.
How much of them go? Them is 50 cents, and these is 25. Where's the fire?
103 West
You'll
Broad.
have to excuse me, I'll have to go.
Merchants and citizens dropped their task to become operators of the town's firefighting equipment.
Beacon works.
At the George Carson residence on 103 West Broad.
Okay.
Residence at 103 West Broad Street.
Not a moment is lost. Recruits are picked up on the run. Boy, look at that pickup. I've never thought of a Ford V8, especially a fire engine, as an aid to sound sleep. But that's exactly what it is to the citizens of Chesaning. With the Ford truck on the job, the worry of fire unchecked is off their list. Thus, Chesaning shows the way to communities in need of efficient, dependable firefighting equipment at a purchase price that doesn't bend the budget.
Oh, we sure put down on the hurry. I'll say we did. And if it hadn't been for this Ford V8, we wouldn't have been there in time.
Yes, that testimonial was paid for. Paid for by property savings and service to citizens of this town.
Alois Habrilla reports. Truckin' in the South brings big haul to star performers.
On the job as a depression buster single-handed. That's the story of a great Ford fleet in steady action for the Great Southern Trucking Company of Jacksonville, Florida. The firm was launched in 1933 with only 2 trucks, both Fords. Less than 4 years later, 136 Ford trucks make up the fleet, with a 12-month record of 3.5 million road miles and a payroll of nearly $250,000. L.A. Rawlison, president of Great Southern, installed Ford trucks instead of the heavier units customarily used in his locality. And his first Ford unit is still serving him. Let President Rawlison tell you about it.
This veteran unit has traveled more than 352,000 miles and is still going strong.
Today, the Great Southern has 42 tractors, 41 semi-trailers with van bodies, and 53 others in various body types. And Great Southern tackles the toughest kind of jobs. Not long ago, a consignment from St. Augustine, Florida was scheduled Saturday night for delivery in Atlanta, Georgia, Monday morning. That meant a trip to St. Augustine, loading 3 units with an estimated 40,000 pounds and traveling the 375 miles to Atlanta in less than 24 hours. Detours complicated the task. Off the main highway, through the deep and sticky clay of the side roads, over all sorts of road conditions. And when the trucks reached the Great Southern headquarters at Jacksonville en route to Atlanta, it was discovered the shipment weighed 75,000 pounds. But that never stopped them for a minute. Another interesting fact is that several of the Fords in the Great Southern fleet are operating with factory reconditioned engines installed at an average of 75,000 miles. The whole fleet averages 10 miles to a gallon of gasoline and 300 miles to a quart of oil. Men who drive Great Southern trucks agree with President Rawlinson's estimate of Ford performance. Wherever you find them, they're saying a good word for the truck they drive.
Say, how do you like that Ford V8 unit? Will she take it?
Will she take it? And how? Say, look, right now I got a load on that baby. It'd break the back of any self-respecting truck. Has she let me down? Not her. Over 100,000 miles on her and she's still going strong. Say, I gotta be highballing. How much I owe you?
20 cents. Thanks. Good lunch. Hope you make your time all right.
Oh, I'll make it. That V8 and I never fell down on the job yet, and we don't intend to. Well, so long.
And they know trucks. On that grueling 375-mile drive to Atlanta, men and equipment both were tested. Both came through. 16 hours after they left St. Augustine, the 3 Fords entered Atlanta on schedule and with time to spare. And that's only one Great Southern record. One engine in the Great Southern fleet has traveled 68,530 miles without a major repair. A tractor unit has gone 120,000 miles with the original engine and 1 ring replacement. Another Ford unit traveled 115,000 miles with original brake linings. President Rawlinson bought a rival truck line running in the red and pulled it into the profit column by installing Ford V8 equipment. Business on the line increased 50% in 9 months. Of his Ford V8s on the job, President Rawlinson says,
Economy is the first fundamental in any business. Standardized equipment makes for economy. It therefore became necessary for us to standardize on the most dependable and economical equipment to be found. We standardized on Ford equipment, and the operating experience has proven the soundness of our decision.
John S. Young reports. Indians and buffaloes put back into circulation. Phone calls mean big tonnage and coin.
Did you say pennies from heaven? No, sir. Nickels from telephones. Pounds of them, tons of them, coming in a steady stream. Where? How? Well, that's another fabulous story of Manhattan magic. A jingling tune of coins that find their way into New York's telephone boxes. 7.5 tons every day in the week. 7.5 million nickels every week. Who says there aren't any Indians left on Manhattan? And if the nickels weren't taken out and put back in circulation, in 190 weeks, every nickel in the United States would be locked in those boxes. But once more, we find the Ford V8 on the job. Every morning in the year, 85,000 coin phones in New York City are visited and the nickels collected with the help of Ford panel delivery trucks. Individual keys open coin boxes. An empty box goes into place, and the telephone nickels go for a V8 ride. And everybody knows anybody's nickel goes a long way in a Ford V8. Back they go through city streets, through Wall Street and the ghetto, from Bronx to Brooklyn. In and out, stop and go, put on the brakes, step on the gas, pound, 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 day in and day out. Torturing brake linings, spurring engines to the limit of their power and getaway. Hundreds, thousands of stops in New York's traffic. Bell telephone drivers boast a splendid record of safety and accident-free operation. Alert and careful, They rely on Ford Super Safety brakes. Nickels are turned in at central offices where a machine counts them. Into the bags they go, back to the bank, and into circulation again. Low operating costs and long jumps between visits to company shops are the V8's contribution to better and better telephone service. When the customer's nickel drops in the slot, it buys a world of service. And that's where the Fords help, on the job, to save nickels as well as gather them.
Ford Bond Reports. News and views of things you never knew till now.
Did you know that Henry Ford was born on a farm, raised on a farm, has always owned a farm since he was 21 years old? And so he understands the farmer's problems. He has said, if we want the farmer to be our customer, we must find a way to be a good customer of his. After all, business is only an exchange of goods. For years, Mr. Ford has had a laboratory where better ways of using farm products in industry are constantly being discovered. Already, vast quantities of farm produce go into Ford cars. To build 1 million Ford V8s, 70,000 pounds of cotton. The crop from 433,000 acres are used in upholstery, brake linings, safety glass, and, believe it or not, timing gears. 500,000 bushels of corn, 2,400,000 pounds of linseed oil, 2,500,000 gallons of molasses, yes, molasses, for making antifreeze, shock absorber fluids and solvents. 800,000 head of sheep are clipped for their wool. 30,000 cattle are skinned for leather. 20,000 hogs supply lard oil for lubricants, oleic acid, and bristles for brushes. And, says Mr. Ford, we've only begun. We're going to keep on experimenting to develop other farm crops that we can use in industry. Now, here's another thing I never knew till now. A conservative estimate of the load hauled by the average Ford truck in 1 year would be 1,000 ton miles. On this basis, Ford trucks all over America in 1 year carry a total of 1,334,921,000 ton miles. Quite a sizable load of the things we need and use each day. Power and speed in trucking provide the only transportation for freight in thousands of areas untouched by railroads, and the welfare of millions of people is affected. Ford V8 trucks carry the city merchant's goods to the farmer, and when the farmer has something to sell in the city, does he go to town? In fact, I never realized before how importantly Ford trucks touch every phase of modern life. From the milkman who brings fresh, pure milk to our door long before we're awake, and on through the day, 24 hours a day, every day, Ford trucks somehow are serving us. Did you order groceries? Is it coal you need? Furniture, clothing, a house built, repairs for your radio? Well, no matter what it is, you'll find that somewhere along the line a Ford truck helps. And because of that fact, try this experiment someday. Take your camera along a busy street anywhere in America, almost any time of day, and watch the Fords go by. Try to photograph a scene or two without a Ford V8, truck, commercial car, or passenger car, and you'll find, as I did, that they're everywhere, serving everyone. Why? Well, chiefly because Ford trucks and commercial units have won their way to universal confidence by giving every owner more service at less cost. Over 3 million of them have been built, and so well built that almost half of them are still licensed and in use. That's some record.
Alois Habrilla reports, behind the scenes of the greatest truck building organization in the world.
Behind the story of Ford truck service, economy, and dependability are Ford facilities, the largest manufacturing plant in the world famed for efficiency, that builds honest value into the finest of low-priced trucks. Here we are behind the scenes. Ford precision manufacture and Ford materials are unsurpassed. No better materials go into an automobile at any price. On Ford assembly lines, built specially for trucks and commercial cars, important units, such as rear axle assemblies, get a world of care. Materials and dimensions are carefully checked not once, but many times. Laboratories built beside production lines keep constant check and ensure the maintenance of high standards in quality and precision. The famous Ford V8 engine has been installed in over 1 million trucks and commercial cars. On January 1st, 1936, 1,424,760 Ford trucks and commercial units were licensed for operation in the United States. That's nearly half of all the 3 million Ford truck units produced. It's more than 40% of all the trucks and commercial units licensed in the whole United States. And for this year, the new line is ready to go out on the job. These newest Ford V8 trucks and commercial cars offer a complete line of body types, in many instances with the choice of the 60 horsepower V8 engine for maximum economy with good performance, or the 85 horsepower V8 for maximum performance with good economy. Henry Ford, founder, and Edsel Ford, president of the Ford Motor Company, have directed the production of 3 million and more Ford trucks and commercial cars. Their experience and their judgment guarantee the present and safeguard the future for Ford products. That is the basis of the Ford truck slogan. Saves you money and serves you well. On the job.